Okay guys, I'm going to do a glam goth look because October, Halloween, lots of people like dress up, blah blah blah, whole nine yards.
But nowhere near to where I lived. Her sister had been washing
I guess
dishes
this
in the house alone.
could be a tutorial.
She felt like something was standing in the doorway on her left.
BB cream.
She looked over and saw a person with long black hair covering his or her face and wearing a red shirt and black pants. This was during the daytime, and what she saw was clear and unmistakable. She immediately ran
Yes,
up
I
the
used my
stairs,
fingers.
closed the door, and waited until someone came home. Adriana had never told her my story. What was unsettling was that this person who came to both of us had long hair covering the face and wasn't distinctively male or female. I didn't see that person again. The apartment always felt creepy. Things would happen like lights turning off in the middle of the night. I moved out once the lease was over. And this story is from Mike in Seattle, Washington. Shadow people in Seattle. I was living in Seattle, Washington in early 2005 while attending the Art Institute. It was a typical night, and I'd been walking to the 7-Eleven for a late-night soda. I lived only a few blocks from the station where the store was located. I did this almost nightly due to my school-based study regimen. I enjoyed walking around Seattle Central at these hours.
Just whatever foundation powder you want to use.
No one was around. I had just walked to the 7-Eleven and was sitting on some barriers around a large water fountain. It was then that I noticed the figure of a man walk out from behind a nearby tree. About a few yards from me, I could see the figure lighting a cigarette. The red light from the end flickered, but I got no details of the face, just shadows. I watched for a bit as the red glow faded, about 5 minutes or so. And that was when I began to see smoke in the distance. The trees were far enough apart that I could have seen the person moving away, and the sidewalks in the center were lit up, so there was nowhere to hide. After seeing the smoke, I began walking toward the person.
I know it's
to make
dark,
sure they didn't
but
toss the cigarette on the dry grass.
I let my husband pick my makeup for me,
When I got over there,
and I haven't gotten
nobody
any
was around.
new powder
Any
yet,
sign
so
of anyone having been there at
get
all.
that out of the way.
The creepy part happened shortly afterward when I heard a ton of fire trucks heading near me.
Eyebrows,
I had turned to
because
discover
you
the
can't
source
see
of the
mine.
smoke was from the building that had burst into flames. And this was only a minute or two after I had noticed the shadow's disappearance and went to check. I'm still not sure what I saw or what the correlating factors of the smoking shadow and the burning building were, but it is still one of those interesting stories from my college life. And a story from Mike in Lincoln, Nebraska. Ghost Schnauzer. I paint for a living. Sometimes I do houses, and sometimes I do commercial work. It varies. I recently went to a job that was to repaint an assisted living duplex. I felt a presence the minute I walked into the place.
In case you're wondering,
I asked my
I'm
brother,
listening
who was
to
showing
Anything
me
Ghost Show
around
by
the
Lex
company, he owns the
Wall.
company, if he felt anything weird there. He said he didn't and left. While I was in the building,
People
air
send
was
in
so
their
heavy.
ghost stories,
I mean,
and he
literally,
reads them or they
when I
record
would
them.
walk outside, it felt like a huge weight had been
yourselves.
lifted off of me. In the
And then he
kitchen,
plays
I had to
that.
paint the ceilings and walls.
I'm big into the
Sort
whole
of
ghost
past
thing. What,
window at
cat?
the sink that looked out into
Yeah, the
dining
cat
room
just
and living
woofed
room
at me.
as I was working.
So apparently,
Constantly
he's a
see
dog.
From the corner of my eye, somebody standing by the dining room table.
Okay, got
Sometimes
that.
I'd see some sort of flying objects.
Hmm.
When I would look in that direction, there would be nothing. I also thought I saw the
I didn't
shadow of what
exactly
I thought was
have like a
ceiling
thing
fan
I was
on
going
the
to
plate.
do,
And when I went to see it,
but
there was no fan there at all. Nothing was moving.
I
But the
guess.
weirdest thing of all happened while I was working in the living room. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw a great gray schnauzer running down the hallway toward me. It was so vivid that I startled and jumped, because it seemed that the dog was going to jump on me. But when I looked, it was gone.
I like to use
I then saw it once more the next day. It ran into one of the back bedrooms.
fake
I went to
tattoos.
find the dog.
Actually, I don't think I'm going to do those today. Erg.
I was only supposed to paint the upstairs, as the basement was to be done by
No,
another company.
I don't think I will.
However, I did have to paint a wall that went down in the stairwell into the basement. It was the last thing I did. When I got down to the bottom of the stairs, I discovered there were tons and tons of pictures of the owner of the duplex and what seemed to be her pet.
Yes, I use my fingers for the eyeshadow
There
too.
were decorations.
It's just easier for me to
like
blend
ceramics
that
and
way.
paintings and such. Well, I didn't want to spook the owner, but I had to know. So I asked her, I noticed the schnauzers downstairs. My mom and dad used to have one. They are good dogs. She said, oh yes, I loved him very much. I don't know if she had seen the ghost schnauzer, but I didn't have the heart to tell her. He was still there. And for this story, we move to Windsor, Ontario, Canada. It's a story from Emma. Visit from our great-grandmother.
Is this color?
My dad experienced this,
Cause
but his story has always stuck with me.
I'm gonna go all like glammy goth. I'm not gonna
When I was little,
be just all
probably
dark
around 3 years
for this
old,
look.
my family took a trip out to the east coast of Canada. During our vacation,
I think I'm not gonna wear my tail today. My tail,
my
I'll
parents
show you
slept
at
in
the end of
one, while
this
myself and my two other
tutorial.
sisters slept
Will
in the
match
other.
the colors. What cat?
My dad was fast asleep, but was suddenly jumped
Yes,
from his sleep
I'm doing my
at 3
makeup.
a.m.
I'm making a video.
He wasn't sure what woke him up, but when he looked over to the bed myself and my sisters were in, he saw a figure sitting at the edge of the bed.
This
It looked
is a
like an
cat
old
that I
woman.
was cat sitting
My
and
dad
got stuck
quickly
with.
leapt out of bed thinking it was an intruder. The woman quickly disappeared
MJ.
before his eyes.
The giant Norwegian butthead that keeps beating up my
In
cats.
the morning, my grandmother called my mom to let her know that our great-grandmother had been rushed to the hospital the night before, and that her heart had stopped briefly at around 3 a.m. But she was brought back.
Go away!
We think the figure my dad saw was my great-grandmother checking up to see that my sisters and I were all right.
Hi everybody, I am Julie. I'm from Seattle. I had submitted a written story a couple of years back about my encounter with a woman named Barbara who disappeared in front of my face. So I would like now to share another story about what happened in my living room one random evening.
Silver
It was
necks.
Saturday night, and I woke up for no reason whatsoever at about 2:33 and 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, can't get back to sleep. Guess I'm gonna watch some TV. So I put on my robe and wandered into the living room. My husband's sound asleep. And I'm kind of zombie-like, if you will. I grabbed the remote even though I'm standing right in front of the TV. Couldn't be bothered to bend over and change the channels. I'm just standing there with the remote, changing the channels till I can find something that sounds nice, appealing for fall asleep to. And I come across this black and white television show.
And
real
some
classic. I'm
black.
like, nice. I have no idea what this is, but this seems like a nice thing to watch. 2:33 in the morning. But I'm still kind of being a zombie, and I'm staring at the screen for a moment. And now I'm standing in front of my TV. It's a flat screen. It's kind of small, but did that just happen? And this is just a matter of seconds. But in some sort of cruel, irony, the very next scene on the TV was some woman walking up. She's like, "Oh, you look like you've just seen a ghost." I'm like, oh no, this is not happening. I could not believe how far this TV moved by itself. It was almost like, somebody's like, "No, you will watch no more TV. You will go back to bed," kind of thing. And I somehow managed to bring up enough courage to right the TV, like put it back in its place, and like a cartoon, my like every hair on my back went straight up, even my hair, and I've got really long hair. And I zip back to the bedroom, almost like my legs are spinning in circles, kind of cartoonish like. That's what it felt like. And I jumped back in bed and I threw the covers over me and huddled there like a little kid. And I'm a mid-30s woman. My husband's asleep through this whole thing. He has no idea, and I can't believe that my TV just snubbed me somehow, physically turned away, and did that. So that's what I have. Thanks for listening. I've got more stories later, but I'll submit those later. So thanks again, Lex, for a wonderful podcast. Thanks again, listeners, and everyone keep up the good work. And thanks again.
And the next story is from Wanya in Vaughan, Washington, on the Key Peninsula. The Woman in the Woods. I grew up in Seattle, Washington. When I was 12 or 13, my mother directed a summer camp near a small town on the peninsula. Each camp session, the campers would spend one night at the camp farm. It was located at the top of a hill at the end of a long logging road that ran through some fairly dense woods. As the director, it was my mom's job to come up and visit them while they were sitting around the campfire in the evening. She would say hello, check in, maybe roast a marshmallow or two, and then head back. One week when I was visiting, I accompanied my mother on the walk through the woods to the farm where the campers were. As we were talking, I saw something out of the corner of my eye. It appeared to be a woman. I doubted what I was seeing, or thought that my mind was playing tricks on me, because the form looked like a storybook cliche version of what a ghost would look like. There was a knot in a tree at about eye level. The figure seemed to have materialized from that spot, and was white and translucent. The ghost returned to the tree and vaporized almost as quickly as she had appeared. But in that split-second moment, I got a full sense of what she looked like and the energy she gave off. She appeared to be a young woman, perhaps a farm worker or a servant from the late 1800s. She was slender and attractive, with full-length skirts, and appeared to be carrying a vase or a gourd. It was also clear, how or why I couldn't tell you logically, that she was a kind of person who didn't intend to harm or frighten us. Maybe she just wanted to be seen, to be recognized, or to have people know she existed. I was ready to write off the entire experience as a trick of the mind, but there was a brief pause between me and my mother, after which time she asked if I had just seen something strange. We spent the rest of the walk discussing what had just happened, and by the end had confirmed beyond a reasonable doubt that we had both seen the same thing, had both been skeptical, but ultimately concluded that there was no way any light could have been coming through the trees. This was in a very rural part of Washington state, with dense moss-covered forests, and it was highly unlikely that light could have filtered in from anywhere to cause such a shape. I've never experienced anything like this before or since. I get a good scare from hearing ghost stories, and the thought of having a supernatural experience frightens me. That said, I recall this one, and only one other encounter as something very special and not scary at all. As I mentioned, I knew from this very brief interaction that the spirit was a positive one, even though I can't explain how. It was as though in those few seconds she'd managed to convey an imprint or key information about herself. I must say I don't envy my mom for having to walk up that trail in the dark by herself once a week for the rest of the summer. I'm still not sure how she did it, but she claims never to have seen that young woman again. I've had other types of experiences in that part of Washington. Strange figures in windows, eerie feelings while visiting old forts or abandoned army bases, noises in old homes I couldn't explain. But nothing as vivid or unmistakable as when I saw that woman in the woods. I sometimes wonder if I saw a ghost when I did, because I was with my mother at the time. She has always been slightly sensitive, picking up the phone before it had a chance to ring, or even had an out-of-body experience once. One night, when my mother was in her 20s, she had a dream and went there. We had told this story to many of our friends. Most were skeptical, not believing us and saying that it was just one of us messing with the other. Our biggest skeptic, Jay, was in town for the weekend. He had heard the story and wanted to see if it was true. We all went out for the evening. When we came back, Jay and Nick's sister, Amalia, took the Ouija
These
board
came with glue,
and went
but
to
they
the
already
bathroom.
have adhesive on them,
30 minutes
so
later, Jay came out of the bathroom with a look of fear and worry on his face. I asked him what had happened. He said he needed to go outside to talk to me about it. He told me they spoke to Dan, and Dan told him that he wanted to kill Nick, that he had been following Nick for 16 years, and that he wanted him. We became very concerned. I threw away the Ouija board immediately. We woke up Nick and told him what we knew. Nick said he chooses not to talk about it or think about it, and he said he will never think about it again. I haven't touched a Ouija board since then. I don't think I ever will again. Whether or not this was a well-fabricated joke by my friends or not, I believe what happened was real. It felt very real. That's it for Anything Goes show number 212. The next show will be the big Halloween Mega Macabre special. Like I said, last year I think it was 3.5 hours. I put it into 3 files. But so we'll probably have another big one again this year. If you have a story you want to share, remember we have the deadlines. October 15th and October 19th. The 15th is if you want me to read the story. The 19th is if you record the story or skit or whatever by yourself. Send those files to lex@anythingghost.com and we'll get them in the Halloween show. If you miss the deadlines, I always have a leftover Halloween candy show in early November. So that's kind of fun too. And don't forget about my book. It's out on iBooks and Amazon.com. And just take a look at it if you don't intend to buy it. It's actually really cool. It's a lot of stories, 169 stories from 18 nations. Just look up Anything Ghost Premiere Collection. And actually, iBooks gives you a pretty good free sample to download. It's several pages. You can entertain yourself with quite a bit of reading. All right, everyone. Don't forget about the deadlines, the 15th and 19th. And I'll talk to you in the big Mega Macabre Halloween special. That'll be out October 24th. But until then, have yourself a wonderful week. And take care.
I'm going to be using a little bit of glue to put some gems on. There. And then I should have did this before, did the designs, but sick, haven't been feeling well, not thinking right, whatever. And that works. And it's my hair. Need to do it again, but whatever. So, Glam Goth, kind of. If you guys want the idea, take it. Talk to you later. Bye.